All right, Mark here, cooking books, bringing information back to my old tricks again. Like I said, uh, I just went back to the hospital today. Here's my hospital bed, right? I just went back to the hospital today for a follow up to make sure that this pneumonia is being, treated with these antibiotics they got me taking. This walking pneumonia. My fever is down, blood pressure, everything. My numbers were looking good today. So, and the lump they found, the 6 centimeters, which is the size of a tennis ball, they actually told me it's shrinking. So that's good. That's a good thing. It's not cancerous. It's not malignant, and it's just a result of the pneumonia. It's a atypical pneumonia. So I'm almost out of the woods, right? And the fact that it's shrinking, they're saying that I might not have to do any surgical removal. That's the best case scenario where it just goes away on its own. And they don't have to cut. So I gotta go back in a few weeks just to make sure that this thing disappears and it doesn't, So yeah. So anyway, back to my oldest, back to what I do, right? As soon as I get at the hospital, I'm back on the books, right? I told you guys, email me mcole252 at AOL.com. If you want to start a book club with me, I'm scholastically scrutinizing Think and Grow Rich by Napoleon Hill. I've read this book years ago, and I've been reading it for the last maybe 2 or 3 months. And I hate to use the word read because read does not justify what I'm doing to this book. Look at this thing here. I got this here. I got this here. You know what I'm saying? I'm like, I'm tearing this book apart. Like I'm ripping through the pages and everything that I read. I'm rereading. I'm gestating. I'm gestating the information. I'm digesting the information. I'm cultivating it. I'm developing it. I'm looking at it every which way. I'm writing it out piece by piece, line by line, and really just try to extract as much as I can out of this thing. And it's amazing. So something that I extracted, I want to share with you guys right now is this. Magnetites are found within the brain, right? Science proves that like birds have more of it in their brain. It's called magnetites. Or for us, it will be like what's magnetic moment, which is the strength and direction of the magnetism in the brain, right? Magnetic moments. You could research that stuff. You can look it up, magnetic moment. And I'm studying right now. I'm reading about. I'm actually analyzing and assessing uh, the formula or the secret for this book. There's a secret that the author drops hints throughout every chapter. You see, if you're paying attention, you'll realize there's a reoccurrence. There's a reoccurrence of a principle. And that principle is that uh, your subconscious mind transmutes your thoughts into their physical equivalents. If we close this book up and shut it down, that's the takeaway that Napoleon Hill wants us to really grasp, right? That your subconscious mind transmutes your thoughts into their physical equivalents or their monetary equivalents. So whatever you're thinking, whatever your dominant thoughts are, your subconscious mind is going to take those thoughts and transmute, okay, by a method of transmutation, it will transmute those said thoughts into their physical equivalents. Now, the thought that you have is a desire, right? Because this is about accumulating riches, think and grow rich. It doesn't have to be monetary riches. It could be anything, right? You want a better partner. You want that ideal relationship. You want that ideal uh, status in life. Whatever it is that your ambitions are, it's a desire. So it's about how to take the desire, which is backed by the thought, and transmute that desire from an intangible, right, into a tangible reality. And so throughout the entire book, you'll see little breadcrumbs of this concept, transmutation, how thoughts are transmuted into their physical equivalents or monetary equivalents. And you'll see it in different ways. right? It's worded in different ways, but that's the general takeaway, at least for me. That's the most important, or that's the formula that I found out of this book, that your subconscious mind will take whatever thought, it's whatever dominant thought, right? It's not a whimsical fly by night, here today, transitory type of thinking. It must be a predominant thought that you maintain in your mind, your conscious mind. It will be passed on to your subconscious mind, and your subconscious mind will find everything in your environment, the people. It will attract the people. It will attract the forces, the circumstance, the conditions, the tools, everything that is necessary in your media, which is your environment, to transmute, which means to convert or translate that intangible desire, which is the thought, into its physical or monetary equivalence. And that is so eloquently stated and put together. It is amazing. So that's the magic that I get from this, right? And I want to kind of, in addition to that, another, there's so many gems, right? But I'm just giving you a little nooks and crannies here. The other thing is that you're, you have to learn, right? All of us, we have to learn. I talked about magnetites and magnetic moments in the very, first minute of the video. Let me continue with that. We have to understand that we can magnetize our brain or magnetize our minds. And what that means is this: because we are bioelectrical, we are emitting a certain radiance, right? We emit a certain radiance. Within that radiance, that radiation that we're emitting, there are electrical fields. And these fields are called electromagnetic fields. And it's a compound word, electric and magnetic, right? So, and it has a transverse, in terms of its geometry, it's transverse, perpendicular to each other, right? The field itself. And what that means, why that is important, is because of the geometry of it, it creates a magnet, a magnetic attraction. And this is where the laws of attraction, all this stuff comes in, right? I'm breaking it down to you, so pay attention. So because our field is electromagnetic, it has both the electrical component and the magnetic component. And because of the way in which it traverses or travels, it has a perpendicular kind of relationship. So therefore, it creates a magnetic force or magnetic field. So what another one of the teachings of this amazing and wonderful and fantabulous book is to learn how to magnetize your mind. You magnetize your mind by having a dominant thought at all times in the subconscious mind. Now, a person would think, I can't walk around all day just thinking about something. My mind is going to stray, and that is a fact. But here's the thing: auto-suggestive language. If you do self-suggestion, an hour, 40 minutes, 30 minutes a day, 10 minutes, whatever, every day, you do auto-suggestion, where you repeat something to yourself long enough, it will find its way into your subconscious or your submind, where you no longer have to think it. It will be an auto repeat or auto replay in your sub thinking. So you're naturally going to constantly be thinking it on the sub level, which is where you want, because sub controls 90% of all of our actions, deeds, and or behavior. So if we must learn to acquire a mind that is magnetic. So if you magnetize your mind, then what happens is now the magnet force that you create based off the dominant thinking, right? Because the dominant thinking becomes an obsessive thinking, right? You become obsessed with a desire. It becomes a burning desire. That obsessive dominant thinking is going to create the magnetic force. The magnetic force, the nature of that force is dependent upon the dominant thought. Whether it's negative, positive, it doesn't matter. The nature of the dominant thought will determine the nature of the magnetic force. And the magnetic force now is going to draw and attract to you everything that is in harmony or that is in synchronization with that dominant thought. And again, this is the science of laws of attraction. I'm giving you the actual science, the mathematics, the decipher and decoding of how it actually works. So we do have magnetic particles in the brain. Science has found this and proven this already. Birds have it. This is how birds are able to fly in storms when they need. Like, it's called their homing device, but it's actually magnetized. And like if there's a storm and they need to migrate, birds migrate during the different seasons. And no matter what the storm is, because of uh, the Earth has a magnetic field. Because of the Earth's magnetic field, which is what compasses, the north and the south, the compass is based off the Earth's magnetic field. This is how compasses work as well. Birds have something similar to a compass where they can always find their way to where they need to go based off the Earth's magnetic field and the magnetite that's in their brain. And this is scientifically proven. Like you can go research the stuff. Well, we're not as acute as the birds. We're not as keen, sharp, and sophisticated with it as birds, but we have an element of that uh, within us ourselves. So if you learn to magnetize your brain or your mind, then what happens is now you start to attract riches to you, as opposed to going out there and chasing riches, chasing wealth, chasing finances, chasing whatever, women, anything. You now become a magnet for that which you aspire to acquire. I like that. You aspire to acquire, you now become an attractive force. Those things are now going to naturally find their way to you. You see what I'm saying? Because you've been magnetized. But not only have you been magnetized, you've been magnetized in a in a synchronization with those things that are being attracted to you. Because remember, the force you create is dependent upon the predominant or the dominant thought that is obsessive or in possession of your mind. And you do this by autosuggestion. And like I said, enough autosuggestion, you can stop, and eventually it finds its way into the sub. And the sub is your internal dialogue that goes on beneath your consciousness. So yeah, I just wanted to share that with y'all. You know what I'm saying? I'm still a little bit under the weather. You know what I mean? Look, I went from 235 pounds to 212. I lost a lot of weight. This pneumonia really like it shook me up. You know what I'm saying? And I told the doctors was like it could be cancer. They didn't rule it out because they didn't know what this tumor that they found under my lungs was. They didn't know what it was. So again, my biopsy came back and it's not cancer. Thank God, and it's not malignant. Again, thank God. It's just a result of the tumor, and it's supposed to shrink with these antibiotics I'm on. So y'all keep me in prayers. This one was close. It was a close call. I mean, I was weak. I couldn't even get out. I mean, I was in the hospital. I couldn't even stand up. I mean, it was that bad. I couldn't breathe. My breathing, like I could, if I inhale, the pain that I would feel in my lower back as a result of this ball that they found on my lungs, it was excruciating. It felt like somebody was stabbing me. I couldn't breathe. I couldn't cough. I couldn't sneeze. Anything that expanded my lungs was just. Again, like I said, this pneumonia was horrific. It was scary, but you know, God is good. They hit me with like five different needles in my stomach, needles in my back. I got my arms are like I'm a junkie. I got all kind of little holes in my arm, both my arms, like I'm a crackhead or something. Like I'm just shooting up dope. And man, I'm a guy that goes mountain climbing and hiking and jogging. I drink my green juice. I got some health juice right here. This is not the green juice, but this is, my blueberries. You know what I'm saying? And so I'm always a kind of health conscious kind of person. And I got my echinacea. You know what I'm saying? I take my echinacea. Like I got my vitamin C. You know what I'm saying? So I'm always like, taking care of myself. Always. I don't smoke, drink, none of that. I study a lot, so I'm very health conscious too. And this illness just came out of nowhere. I'm like, whoa, whoa. So it was just more of an eye opener and like appreciate your life, folks. Appreciate every breath that you have. I was in the hospital stretcher, and uh, I mean, again, people like Bernie Mac, I think Puff Daddy, Baby Mother, like they died from some of these things, these complications, right? I mean, amongst other things, but walking pneumonia takes people out. So I would say I definitely dodged the bullet on this one, and just take care of yourself out there, folks. Peace.